the Spotlight segment, in which we bring you premier interviews from guests, device unboxing, and important news about Android. Stay tuned for this segment and continue listening the podcast.
Up next, we're talking about Android 14 Developer Preview 2, which dropped on Wednesday. That was the 8th of this month. I have installed it, and though there are some changes and all of that, but for some reason, I'm having some difficulty with mine in the sense that every time I shut down my phone and it comes back up, then I have an error that says com.android.qns has stopped. And it doesn't matter what I do. I mean, I have even reset the phone twice. And now I talked to Austin. Austin is not seeing that at his end, but this is on my Pixel 7 Pro. But that's the only problem that I'm having with this build. For some reason, I didn't have that happening with the first developer build. But now I'm seeing that. But I'm hoping that next month, when it opens up to the beta, that the problem may be fixed. Let's talk about what has changed and what hasn't. But I think there are a couple of things that are exciting, most especially, or maybe three things. The first one we want to talk about is the flashing of notification. I tested both of those, and this is something that you can set in your accessibility area. You go to the accessibility area and you could turn that on. You have the one that could flash on the screen. So this is all visual for if you're sighted or whatever, you have some sight, so that when a notification comes in, for example, it will flash like yellow, the whole screen could light up like that. Or you could choose to also turn on where the camera light would flash, and I think that would be very helpful for people who are deaf, people that cannot hear anything. I think that would also come in handy. But again, like I said, these things are found in the accessibility settings. So that's the first feature that we want to talk about. John, did you try that, or what are your thoughts about this change?
So I'll be honest with you. I installed it and I looked to see if they had fixed the bug I reported, and they had not. So I turned it off and put it back in the drawer. But I am I am glad to hear about the accessibility improvements. Anytime they're continuing to add accessibility features to a phone, I'm happy about it, because that's the first thing I look for when I get a new update to a new version of the OS, is go see what's changed in the accessibility section.
So before I talk about this, I want to talk about the problem that I had. Now this was just a one-time occurrence, but now I'm having another problem. So I installed the beta, I don't remember when, but it was Friday morning and my WhatsApp messages went haywire. They were showing some messages from Thursday and they were showing some messages from Friday morning, and it all happened on the same day because I remember my friend messaged me on the same day, the notification came in, but when I went into WhatsApp, the time was showing as Thursday. Then in the afternoon, I was in the office and my time was showing 2 a.m. So I don't know what time zone my phone went into. And I did everything. I turned off the automatic time zone setting and turned it back on. Nothing happened. Then I restarted my phone and it fixed it. Now the new problem has started is when someone calls me and my screen is locked and my it is not unlocked the screen for many hours, the phone app will just crash. So I think this is more buggy than the developer review one. And now about the flashing notifications, if the screen flashes, it is okay, but I don't think the camera light flashing should be okay, unless, but it will help the people who can't hear. But I think it will consume a lot of battery, and if it just flashes once and turns off, that is okay. But if it flashes many times and your phone is in the pocket, that also will generate a lot of heat. because I've seen cameras that are on generate a lot of heat when the phone is in the pocket.
Well, these things are optional, though. Let's make that clear. They are not things that are turned on by default once you enable that. So once you turn on this or tap on it, you have those two choices. You can choose which one you want. You can choose the screen flashing, and you can even choose whatever color it is that you want it to flash in. For my testing, I chose the yellow color, but it has other colors in there too. And that doesn't mean that turning it on automatically enables the camera mode either. So you have to choose. You can choose both or choose one of those if you want, but choosing one doesn't automatically turn on the other either. I tested both, separately, and yeah, it worked as intended.
Yeah, exactly. These are both optional. So if you're a deaf person and it helps you to see that you have a notification, you're not going to be concerned that it might use up some battery. It's worth the trade-off for you if it means you're not going to miss a notification.
Yeah, and it's not like it's going to be doing that continuously, though. It only does that twice and then it stops. So it's just an instant flash to let you know you got something. It's not a continuous thing by any chance of imagination. That's not what it is. So like I said, I tested both, and it's not something that keeps doing that. It does that twice, and that's it.
So I guess, Warren, would when you have it set for a screen flash with your notifications, will it flash the screen if the screen is not actively on?
I would imagine that. Well, I didn't check it with the screen on, the screen off. To be honest, I just I had it while the screen was on because you can preview what it would look like, and then I would imagine that yes, it will flash even when your screen is off, because if I get a notification and I want to know that I have a notification, um, I should know about it. I would imagine that it would be, or when I turn on the screen, but I would like to believe that it will do it when the screen is off. So I cannot be, I'm not sure as to whether or not, so I can't say categorically that it would, but I would like to think that it would.
Yeah, like the one thing I do actually see with this is, even if you find it useful for someone like me who, say, receives a ton of notifications all day, I could actually see this impacting your screen life opposed to your battery in more of a drastic way. I can see your screen actually wearing out much faster than I can see it draining your battery.
But I don't think it's going to be any draining more of your battery than, because in normal circumstances, when notifications come, they'll pop up near the top of your screen
Exactly.
anyway. So it's the same. It's the same idea. It's not that this thing is using any whatever more than that. I don't see this as particularly draining any battery because it's using the same thing that is coming from your notification.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I can see it being more of a drain on your screen's lifespan opposed to a battery drain.
Exactly.
So I think that would be something that, especially for someone like me who's got a lot of notifications, that would be something that I would actually be a little more wary about, because obviously we want to get the most life out of our devices. And if we're going to be wearing out our screens with a notification style, you kind of should maybe look at making that just for the priority notifications, like your calls, your text messages, your WhatsApp, opposed to
That
like
makes
your
sense.
Facebooks, your Twitters, your Instagrams, those kind of apps.
And it is not like when it comes, it's obstructing you seeing what is going on the screen. That's not the case at all.
No.
And even with the LED lighting up for the camera, I can't imagine that uses more battery than like a notification sound being played. It's just
Exactly.
that
And that's
split second that it lights up. Yeah.
Like, I know I played around actually with having the camera flash as a notification method for a while, just for the hell of it. And that thing had, I guess that would have been probably a couple years ago. So I would have been using a A70, and it had a severe impact on battery. But we've got so much better with our phones now that I can't see that being a huge issue at all. I see more impact on your screen lifetime than I can on your battery.
How does it work? Does the whole screen light up? Is that how it works?
It lights up not in the sense that you have a light, but the color, pops up, so it kind of shows whatever color you chose. Like I said, I chose yellow to test it with. And it just, you see this yellow come up, and it doesn't take away what you're looking at, or, what you're reading or whatever. But that lets you know you just got that notification.
So is it more of a different color rather than a flashing light?
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. The next one that we have has to do with something that is there, but it's not quite there. It's still buried behind a flag. So it's something that would be coming probably in the beta next month when it's open up for everybody. And this is something that I think is taken from One UI, Samsung, in the sense that, when it comes to filling in your PIN, for example, you turn off your phone or shut down your phone and turn it back on, and then it comes and asks for a PIN. If you go enable this to where after I finish putting in my PIN, it should just automatically unlock without me needing to tap the OK. You notice that we have that in Samsung, but you have to enable that in the Samsung PIN area if you want that to happen. I think with Samsung, you can even make it with 4 digits, but with the one from Google, it has to be at least 6 digits before you could enable that feature. So I kind of like that because to be honest, I don't always like this whole idea of, putting in my PIN and then go tap the enter or tap the OK to say, okay, I'm done. Once I, have it done right, then just go ahead and unlock it. So that's another thing that is coming, but right now it's hidden behind a flag. So I imagine that will be next month will become available.
This feature is also available in the OnePlus phones, and I don't know about other OEMs, but at least it was available in the OnePlus 7 and the OnePlus Nord currently, the OnePlus Nord 2. So it is available in those phones.
I think this is actually one of the reasons why I started using Pattern, just because it's faster. Because that was one of the things that annoyed me about putting my PIN in. Is why am I putting my PIN in and then hitting enter? I just want it to unlock as fast as possible, so that's why I switched to the Pattern.
I've never known how to use a pattern. I didn't know you could if you're blind. So maybe we need to have at some stage to do a little demo of how to do that or something.
Tip of the week. Yeah, I can probably do that at
kind
some
of
point.
thing.
A little tip of the week there for you, John. So that's your homework for next week.
Okay, I'll see if I can throw something together.
Yeah, so we look forward to seeing that next week. Shall we say amen on that one, John? We'll
Okay,
do that
amen.
tip of the week next week. Good. The next thing that also is available, but also have to be enabled in the developer mode, and that will be the back gesture, where you could actually see what's going to land, for example. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when let's say I'm on an app, for example, I'm on Chrome, and then a message came through or whatever, and I decide to check that message. And if I hit the back, sometimes I'm taken out of both the messaging app, and my Chrome that was in there is gone. I don't know if that happens to you guys, but I see that happen to me, from time to time. But so Google is doing something to where you will actually see where you're going to go back to, whether it's going to be going back to the app that you are just on, or it's going to go back to the home screen. The only thing, though, is that developers will need to enable that, because right now it's only working with some Google apps, and I think that's a good thing. And I'm looking forward to seeing developers adapting that. That would be really good.
So how would that work? Would it say back to inbox, for example?
Yeah, I haven't tried it to see how it would work, but I'm imagining that those of us that use the screen reader, because we can see the animation that is showing where it's going to go back to, that we would actually hear TalkBack saying, going back to inbox or going back to Chrome or something to that effect.
That would be quite handy.
It would be.
But I do have a suspicion that you just press your back button too enthusiastically, Warren, because I don't think that's ever happened to me.
Well, it happens to me, to be honest.
You've got these big, thick, manly fingers, you see. That's what it is.
But Warren uses the swipe gestures.
I
I
use
think,
it.
don't
Yeah,
you,
we're
Warren?
talking about
And
that's the gestures. That's what I'm talking about. And
Can
for
you
me,
remind me and the listeners what the back gesture is? Because some of us just have a back button on the bottom of our phone.
okay, so the back gesture that we're talking about here is to swipe, from the edge, either from the left or right edge of your phone, and and that.
Horizontal swipe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you swipe from the right edge toward the middle, or from the left edge toward the middle, and it will go back. But if you do a slow motion, you will see where it is going to land you, and you can still move your fingers back to the edge that you started swiping from, and it will stop from going back. And that's what this one is. So I think for us to check it, we'll do that to see if it will say where I'm going back to and things like that. But when I, like I said, if I swipe right now, as I have it, if I'm in Chrome and messaging comes in, and a lot of times I go back, I'm out of both of them. So that is something that Google is working on. But like I said, so far though, it's only working like with some Google apps like Google News and all of that. So it will depend on developers to implement that, but at least it's something that's going to be there. Besides that, there are some other notification changes and things like that. So next month, though, it's going to be opening up for beta, so that people who are interested would then be able to join the beta. But if you don't have a phone that qualifies, then you would kind of wait till it comes to everybody, sometime in the fall. The lineup, though, is that just like Android 13 came in August, this too will come in August, the final public release.
Imagine if they just got stuck on Android 13 and every single year it was just always called.
Oh, you mean like Windows and Windows 10?
Yeah, they could do that. Windows does that. Yeah.
It'll be their last operating system, and then they'll come up with one more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all liars.
or what if
especially
Google
Microsoft.
decided to go back
Actually,
to the
Windows,
KitKat
Windows
days
12
and just
is
said, this is
currently
13.1?
Windows 12 is currently in canary release.
It would have to be 13.1.1. Get it right.
Oh no.
And then
This is getting annoying.
13.1.2. That was
Exactly.
very annoying. That's why Google, we
I much
hated that.
preferred the things like Pi and stuff.
I mean, I was all over KitKat. Just saying.
Oh, KitKat was so many different versions. It was not even funny.
I was a great fan of KitKat. That's where I walked into Android on. So I'm forever. It's going to be my favorite.
Yeah, maybe you like eating that KitKat too.
I mean,
Yeah, I
have you
ate
guys seen the
KitKats.
flavors
I
of
didn't use
KitKat you
KitKat.
can get in Japan?
What?
Take a look at the flavors of KitKat chocolate bars you can get in Japan.
Like what? Like wasabi or something?
Oh,
no.
there's so many,
Oh,
they
no.
will blow your mind.
I wouldn't want that. That thing goes
That
to
would
your
be
head.
weird.
Yeah, I agree.
I would try it just once.
Another important thing here is that the photo picker, for example, has been revamped to where actually you can have apps not accessing that, so you can say, block and never allow, or we so it boils down to that permission where apps could access your files or photos and stuff like that. uh, it's not going to be, you have final control in the sense that you can tell them, you can block them, don't even access it. And another thing that Google is doing that I like is going to be about all the snake oil that people have been selling us for years now. It has to do with, RAM boosters, uh, speeding up your phone, blah, blah, blah. All that nonsense is going to be killed in Android 14, because Google succinctly puts it out there. It doesn't do anything. Those are just actually wastes your resources and only hard on your device. So that snake oil is going to be gone. So if you've been buying, RAM boosters or speeding my phone or background killers, forget it.
About time.
I say amen. Yeah, it's time. The snake oil was back in the 1800s. We should be done with that a long time ago. So,
I agree. I'm sorry. The only way to boost your RAM is by either legitimized VRAM or getting higher RAM chips in the phone.
exactly. And Google says Android is intelligent enough. It bases it on the cache. And when there's too much, then it will automatically know how to handle it. So the snake oil now can only do it to itself, but not other apps. So if you still want to use that snake oil, you can use it, but just know that it's not going to work on other apps, because all it did was, just kill the process. But then when you restart the phone, it's back again, and then it goes through the same circle again, actually putting a lot of stress on your phone. Snake oil gone.
I wonder how many of those apps are actually malware.
I agree. I'd never, really cared about those type of apps. I'd never use those.
I thought that Google Play, I thought the store vetted the apps. So how are people even getting them? Why are they even there?
Thank you, Fee. And Fee, that's one. Google is going to deny those apps on the Play Store. They're sending a message to developers. Those apps are not going to be allowed anymore. So good thing you mentioned that. Yes.
Can I just check, because you said this is it's going to be a beta next month. So what's this version you've got now then?
DP2, Developer 2.
So this is a version normally used just by developers rather than members of the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Your public betas generally will come out in March, April. Your developer betas generally will start coming out like January, February.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the developer preview always come out in February. We've never had it in January. Actually, in years past, it's usually like in March, but with Android 13, it actually came out in February. And so we had more, or was it Android 11? One of those, we had like maybe 4 developer previews. But with Android 13 last year, we had 2 developer previews, February, March, and then April came the first beta. And the same thing is happening this year. So this is the last developer preview that we have for Android 14. And next month in April will be the very first beta that anyone can join if they wanted to. So we'll have like April first beta, second one in May, third one in June, fourth one in July, and final release in August. So 4 betas and 2 developer previews.